Hi, welcome. I wanted to create this recording so that those of you who have practiced with me over the past few years will have a way to connect with an easy practice that you can do at home through the winter months and while I am on maternity leave. Even though I'm doing this at 8.5 months pregnant, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this as prenatal yoga. And we're going to start today seated in a chair, or you can sit on the ground. And this is going to be about 30 minutes of basic joint opening and awareness building through the body with a little bit of standing and some final silent meditation at the end. So, have a comfortable seat and pull the flesh out from underneath your hips so that you can try to connect with the bones in your pelvis and feel the way that they ground you onto your chair or whatever you happen to be sitting upon. And then take just a couple of movements to get yourself settled. Perhaps closing the eyes, or at the very least, letting the gaze soften and moving your attention down away from the brain. You could focus towards the tip of your nose or down towards the ground or even internally into your body. And as you give yourself permission to be still and quiet, see if you can turn up the volume or turn your focus more to your rate of breathing. You want your inhale and exhale to be as equal as possible, both in the length of time that they take coming in and out of your body, and also in the force from the beginning to the end of the breath. So trying to smooth out the inhale throughout the beginning, middle, and end. And then especially on the exhale, letting the breath slowly leave your body at the same rate from the beginning to into the middle. And it'll probably taper off some at the end. As you take this time to get settled, noticing the way that you feel, noticing any repetitive stories or looping thoughts, and letting that all become more spacious or softer. And perhaps even drifting out of your attention as each exhale blows those thoughts, worries, doubts, frustrations, blows them out of your awareness. As you begin to consciously clear your thoughts or consciously notice your exhales, also become refreshingly aware of the inhale, bringing in a willingness to open to the moment, opening to grace. Receiving clarity and releasing into relaxation. as the outer body settles and softens with the relaxation of the exhales. Notice any quality of brightening or buoyancy on your inner body with the inhales. So the inner body brightens and expands as you breathe in, and the outer body softens and releases as you breathe out. Another way to say that would be that the inhale lifts and fills your heart and your lungs, and the exhale relaxes the muscles and skin of your shoulders, neck, and jaw. Your next few inhales may continue to brighten and buoy the heart and also fill and inhabit the abdominals and the pelvis, so that the following exhale relaxes all your inner organs and softens your hips down towards your chair, feeling the contact of your feet and your skin to the ground. Breathe in this way with more awareness of where you are in space, how you feel right now, with some empowerment of consciously releasing the thoughts and feelings that may feel heavy, and instead focusing or inviting in lightness. Allowing yourself to sip in refined, refreshed clarity, and to soften and settle and relax, breathing out heaviness, worry, fear, or doubt. Keep this process with you as we begin to move together. You can keep your eyes closed and follow the sound of my voice, or you can open your eyes and watch the motions that I'm taking. So as you exhale, you're going to turn your chin across towards one shoulder, maybe pausing there with the head gently turned to one side. And eventually, inhale the head to the center, exhale across to the other side. Do this in sync with your breath. Inhaling the head to the center and exhaling to gently twist the neck around to the side. Be sure not to strain around farther than your neck is easily able to go, and try to synchronize the movements with the breath. Come to each side 2 or 3 times, and then eventually back to the center. On your next exhale, you can let your chin drop down towards your chest, pausing here for a round or 2 of breath, and eventually riding your next inhale up, lifting the chin and opening the front of the throat, turning your face up, striving upward with your entire face and head, and eventually tilting the chin back down as you exhale, opening the chin back up as you inhale. You're mostly moving your head and neck, not rounding the spine too much, along with the movement of the head. And the next time your face is up and you feel a little bit of the opening shape in your throat, I want you to try to keep wide across your collarbones, across your chest, and long through the front of your throat, even as you bring your chin back down more towards a neutral position. You're balancing the opening at the front of the neck and chest by dropping the chin and lifting up the back of the skull. Then keep that. As you exhale again, let your ear sink over to one side, moving down towards the shoulder on one side so the neck is long on one side and short on the other. And if you want to add to this, you could even reach your hand off of your leg, either down towards the floor, perhaps touching the floor if you're on the ground. Just making this long diagonal from your earlobe all the way down to your fingertips. And then coming up to the center on an inhale, exhale the head over to the other side. And just letting gravity really help the shape that you're making here. You're not aggressively pulling the head away from the shoulder. You're just letting the weight of the skull lengthen this one side of the neck, and you're adding to that diagonal by lightly drawing the fingertips towards the floor or into the floor, if you can touch it. And you can do this on each side. Again. Tick-tocking the head up and over. And really what I find is when your head takes this shape over to one side, if you can invite that opening and buoyancy on the inhale, you feel more sensation a lot of times in the neck. And then on the exhale, you have the opportunity to drain that down and out, releasing intentionally down through the arm and fingertips. So once you've been to both sides, you can bring the head back to the center again. Pausing here to feel the front and back and sides of your neck all somewhat more open so that you can sense an elongation from the base of your neck, somewhere in your chest, all the way through a column up the top of your skull. Keep any amount of alignment or opening that you may feel here, and then we'll start rolling the shoulders. So you can roll the shoulders a couple of times, inhaling when they come up and exhaling when they go down. And then switch, whichever way you're making your circles, you can go the other way. Good. Eventually finding a position where you let your shoulders be at your sides with your arm bones hanging pleasantly alongside. If your eyes are still closed, you're still breathing with awareness. And as you feel your arm bones hanging at your side, sense that your rib cage and your lungs expand out towards your arms on your inhale and contract in away from your arms, adding a little extra squeeze at the end of the exhale. Feel or sense your lungs and rib cage expanding front to back on the inhale and contracting front to back on the exhale. And then I really like to bring in the idea that you are a multi-dimensional, global, spherical creature. And so you could even take that directional awareness and think about or feel expanding hemispherically all the way out, side to side, front to back, up and down, diagonally, all at once out into a global sphere on the inhale, and then contracting way back down into your center on the exhale. And the center could be somewhere towards the base of the heart. And depending on where you feel your breath connection the most, that spherical expansion and contraction could be happening in your lungs and your chest, or it could also be happening in your abdominals and your belly. We talk about belly breathing in yoga a lot, where the belly expands on the inhale and contracts and relaxes on the exhale. So biologically, what happens is when you breathe in and the diaphragm and rib cage expand, the diaphragm presses down on your abdominal organs. So they do literally get pushed out on your inhale. And then when the diaphragm rebounds back up under the ribs, your abdominals can draw back in. So if you want to focus on the belly breath, there's a subtle or noticeable expansion on the inhale of the belly, gently widening out and then drawing back in. And as much as you can feel that in the front of your abdomen, also spread your awareness around to the sides and to your lower back. So that again, you consider the way that you expand as more of a sphere going out on the inhale and coming back into a central point on the exhale. For the belly breathing, the central point would be somewhere just below the navel inside of your abdomen. Again, balance between the length of the inhale, the length of the exhale, as well as smoothness and ease from the beginning of the inhale to the end, and from the beginning of the exhale to the end. Keep this rhythm of breath with you as we start to move more and more, so that with your next inhale, when it comes around, your arms float up on the expansion of the inhale, and your hands come back down with the contraction of the exhale. So we'll do this twice more, inhaling out and up with your rhythm of breath, and exhaling back down. This next time that your arms go out and up, let's keep them reaching up until your palms come together. And with your palms touching over your head, feel your hips and your seat on the ground or on your chair. And then from that foundational root in your pelvis, rise up through your spine, through your throat, and sprout your fingertips up a little taller. Keeping that length in your torso, bring the hands touching down through the center of your chest and nestle your thumbs into your sternum, connecting with your heartbeat inside. As you learn to acknowledge how you feel and seek the willingness to release the heavy emotions or feelings, there's also the ability to consciously choose to invite in more enhancing, more nourishing feelings and thoughts. I think gratitude is one of the most powerful, gratitude and love. So connecting with your heart in this way, feeling appreciation for the way that it beats constantly, circulating the blood in your body. If there's any other specific intention that you'd like to bring into the next 20 minutes or so of movement, please feel free to take some time to be clear with yourself and why you've made this space to be with yourself and me. Thank you. So when you feel clear with your intention, you can release your hands. And if your eyes have been closed, you can open them. All right. So from here, we'll do a couple motions seated. We'll stand, and then we'll come back down and sit again. So you can reach your arm up, feeling your hips stay down. Curve over to one side, letting the head drift down. Taking a few expansive breaths into the side of your lungs and ribs. Inhaling to really feel that spherical expansion, and exhaling to squeeze, rooting down through your hips and rising up through your hand. Then come to the center as you inhale, switching to the other side. Reach the arm up, stay grounded down through your hips as your weight drifts over to the side. This other shoulder can relax down as the head drifts over. And one more time on each side. Inhale up, exhale the hand down, inhale the other arm up, and exhale over to the side. Take 1 or 2 or even 3 breaths here. And then inhale up, exhale down, inhale up with the other arm, and exhale over to the other side. Come back up when you're ready, bringing your hands down. Take one hand across your knee and the other either to the chair behind you or to the floor if you're sitting on the ground. Inhale to find as much verticality as possible, and exhale to twist around easily to the side. Try to keep the shoulder blades relaxed, the chest wide, the gaze soft. And inhale to the center, exhale across to the other side. Inhale again to the center here. I have to widen my feet for this one, but that's optional, mostly because I'm making way for belly. So on your next inhale, hands on the legs. Even if you're sitting on the ground, you can still do this. Hands on your legs, you kind of push down with your hands to encourage your chest up, your sternum up, your gaze up. Now you're arching your back as you lift your throat and your face. Take a wild inhale into the front of the lungs, drawing the shoulder blades together on your back. Good. Then as you exhale again, dropping down, turning in, your face turns down, your spine rounds the other direction. Your hands can kind of push your knees forward or away from you to round in the other direction. And do this at your own pace. It's like a seated cat-cow. So you inhale, arching, shoulders back, chin lifted. And you exhale, rounding, shoulders forward, chest down. One more time. This time as you're rounded forward, you could go ahead and take it forward onto the elbows or even reaching your hands down towards the ground. Using each exhale to let you sink a little bit farther forward. You feel your shoulders widening away from your spine. And then on an inhale, gradually rolling back up. Coming back to verticality. Bring your hands up onto your shoulders and make a couple of circles in the air with your elbows. And then the other direction. So now you're moving with more awareness of just your shoulders and your shoulder blades and your chest. Point your elbows out to the side, bringing them forward and back. I like to inhale the elbows forward and exhale them back. So when you inhale, you're spreading your upper back. When you exhale, you're squeezing your upper back. Again, spread and stretch. Squeeze and tone your back. Stretch and squeeze. Good. This time when you come forward, you can release your hands down, turn your palms up or out towards your screen and draw the fingers back. Especially if you've been on the computer working away, it's really nice to open the wrists and the palms. Maybe one more time on each side. Good, then you can even do that the other direction, very softly, turning the hand down. Good. Yeah, okay. Then let's try bringing one leg up across the other. And for tight hips, this can already be intense, so you can just roll that ankle and try to soften the hip as much as you can. You might find that moving your foot has a profound influence on what you feel in your hip, which is pretty fascinating to me usually. Flexing and pointing, and just getting movement and circulation into your foot and toes. And then uncross, and do that on the other side. Rolling the ankle, both directions. Good. Yeah, flex and point a few times if you like. Wonderful. Then now that your feet have had some movement, we're going to bring some weight up onto them. So you can come to stand. And now your weight transfers from your sitting bones, your buttocks, down onto your feet. So feel your weight strongly down onto your feet. And you can roll your hips a little bit, especially after sitting for so long. A couple of circles one way, and a couple of circles the other way. Good. I'm going to give you all a little side view of the baby belly. Yeah, due in a couple of weeks. Feeling pretty good. Moving a little slower for sure, but feeling good. So reposition yourself on your feet. Inhale the arms up. And exhale the arms down. A couple of times at your own pace. This time inhale the arms out and up, maybe bringing the gaze up. Exhale the arms down. One more time, arms up, and then keep them up. This time grabbing your wrist, curve over to the side. Try to let your head rest on one of your arms if you can. Good. Back to the center. Now try to keep your weight distributed evenly on your feet. And even as you curve over to the side, both feet stay connected with the floor as evenly as possible. Release the wrist, reach both arms up, and then let them come down at your side. And weave your fingers together behind you. Now, if you can't easily reach your hands together, you could have like a belt, a robe belt or a regular belt that you grab a hold of, or you could just reach your hands back behind you to open the chest and take a few breaths into these muscles across the front of your chest. And on an exhale, let's release that. Good. Okay. So let's move. I'm going to move my chair. Stand and take a step forward 2 or 3 feet with one foot out in front and the other heel anchored down to the ground. You can turn the toes out 35, 45 degrees. And then square your hips forward, bend your front knee, and you'll start to feel probably start to feel an opening in that back thigh, especially if you've been sitting in a chair for a while or sitting at your computer. Then try adding your arms. And the more that you can bend your front knee, the better, grounding you down onto the ground, but also intentionally lifting your arms up so it feels like your arms are on either side of your ears. Feeling your whole body grow up a little longer out of your pelvis. And on an exhale, you can bring your hands down. See how it feels to push off that front foot. This is a strange thing we don't do very often. Stepping back. And switch, step the other foot forward. Back heel stays down, so you might get a nice stretch in the back calf. Front of the belly lifts as the hips square towards the computer screen, towards me. Bend the front knee and reach your arms forward and up. Ooh, that feels good. Yeah, and take a few breaths, softly looking from the backs of your eyes, noticing the thoughts, releasing anything detrimental or exhausting, and embracing or opening to grace and gratitude and love. You can bring your hands down. Get a little momentum off the front foot and push back. Good. All right. Now you've got your chair here. You've probably got something nearby. So I'd like you to try to do is lift up. See if you can grab one knee. Making that foot in the air active. You could even do a couple of little circles with the ankle. Feel the foot on the ground and try to rise up and away from it. Remembering the space above your head to help you lift up. And you could even lift your arm if you like, if you can balance. Try opening that knee out to the side. Good. And bring it back in, sliding your hand down to your ankle. Turn your knee down. Again, opening front of the thigh here, which is really good. If you can stretch your quads or your hip flexors in some way every day, I think it would drastically reduce hip pain and back pain. Yeah. Okay, so once we've done that on one side, you can shake the leg out a little bit, switch to the other. I'm going to see if I can free balance here. My balance is not its usual these days, but you can hold that knee, root down through the standing leg, rise up through the head. See how it feels to roll the foot and ankle. And if it feels steady, you can reach that arm up in the air, reminding your torso to lift up off of your pelvis as much as your foot roots down into the ground. And you can open out to the side if you like. And then slide down to the ankle and draw that foot back behind you. As much as you can, you're trying to get your knees in line with each other, like you're still standing on 2 feet, even though the one foot is tucked up behind you. And if you can keep that and work on lifting and opening the chest, you get that multi-directional opening, kind of 2 opposite directions at the same time. Good. Let that foot come down, shake it out. Wonderful. All right, so I really wanted to keep this as a pretty short video. So if you want more of a standing practice, I'll try to record another one of those for more standing. But for now, we're going to sit back down in the chair or on the ground. I think it'd be nice to try a little goddess opening pose for the inner thighs, so you can sit on your chair, or if you'd prefer to stand and keep this a little more active, you can be in this position but standing. Okay, so we'll take your elbow down onto your knee on one side, reach that other arm over the ear really long, opening the knees away from each other, spreading the fingers out wide, feeling like your arm starts all the way down at your hip. Let's come up and go to the other side. Good. Come back up again. And then you can lean forward a little ways and kind of press the one knee back and apart on each side. Good. Depending on what your threshold is, you may even be able to fold forward a little ways, opening the knees out. See how it feels to lift the toes and activate your feet. Let your head drop down any amount. I can't go much farther than this right now, but you may be able to. Then bring your hands back up on your knees to come back together. And we're going to revisit this position of crossing the leg over. So you can take one leg and cross it over. Now your knee may be more up here if you've got really tight hips, and that's okay. I'd still encourage you can hold some of the weight of the leg with your hands so that you're not just gripping with your jaw with intensity. Other hips allow for the shin to just drop down towards parallel. And so if that's the case, if you're here and you don't feel much, then you can start to fold forward. And in some instances, reach your hands all the way down to the ground. Breathing into the whole back line, down through the spine into the hips. And switching eventually. This is kind of the complement to opening the quads in the front of the legs. It's being sure to also get the back of the hips. And as much as possible with your yoga and your movements, you want to try to balance yourself. So whenever you open the front of the body, you also want to make opening intentions for the back. Same with opening the left side and the right side. Come up from that when you're ready. And so what we've been able to do is open the throat in all its ways, move the shoulders in all of their ways, forward and backward and all around. We've moved the spine forward and backward and side to side, and we've even twisted. And then we open the front of the thighs and the back of the hips. Okay, so there's of course more that we could do, but for now, that's a great way to just reset your system. And I think it's always lovely to take at least a minute or two at the end to just let all of those intentional movements sink in. Trying to continue and perpetuate the nervous system into its parasympathetic state so that you are able to rest and digest, so that your immune system can eliminate toxins and pathogens. And that one of the easiest ways to switch into that relaxation state, the parasympathetic nervous system, is to follow your breath. I'm a body-oriented, kind of kinesthetic person, so focusing the attention on the sensation of the breath really helps me, and is often what I share with you. Feeling the cool clarity of the breath at your nostrils on the inhale, and the warm release of relaxation on the exhale in your nostrils as well. Noticing the parts of your body that touch the ground, the chair, whatever you're sitting on, the warmth of your hands, and the space that you occupy here and now. Filling that space with gratitude, awareness, acceptance, and appreciation. You can bring your hands together at your chest, and again, nestle your thumbs close enough to your sternum to perhaps feel your heartbeat, or at least know that it's beating inside of your chest. Bow your head, honoring that depth of being that you are. Thank you so much for making time to move your body and take care of yourself. Namaste.